After you have understand about the life in the city and the life in the countryside, I have some question for you in order to help you understand more why you have to learn about the city and the countryside. So I have first questions. The first questions will be, where do you live right now? Of course, we are live in Purwokerto because you're studying here, right? And the second questions will be, do you like living here? The answer only two possibility. The first one will be yes, I like living here, or no, I don't like living here. And of course you have to give a reason why you answer yes or why you answer no. The next question will be, where would you like to live? Do you like live in the city or do you like live in the countryside? And you have to give reason also. And the last questions will be, how long have you lived here? Pay attention to the bold sentence, have you lived. If you find that kind of questions, the answer will be, I have lived here for 20 years. The sentence of I have lived here for 20 years is a form of sentence in present perfect tense. So the next topic that we are going to discuss is, what is the present perfect tense? Before we are going to make the present perfect tense, we have to understand about the form or the pattern to make the sentence. There are three types of pattern here, or three forms. The first one is affirmative. So if you are going to make the sentence affirmative sentence, the form will be subject followed by have or has and followed by verb 3. There are two types of subject. S is for subject, yes. The first type is IU we they. If you are going to make sentence using the IU we they, you have to use have and followed by verb 3. The second types is he she it. So if you are going to make sentence using he she it, you have to use has followed by verb 3. So please look at the example below. I have gone to Merapi Mountain. So you see the subject I is followed by have, and gone is a form of verb 3. The form of verb 1 from gone is go, the verb 2 is when, and the verb 3 is gone. The second example is, she has visited the lake in the countryside. That is the second type of subject because we are using she followed by has and followed by visited. Visited there is a form of verb 3. And the third example is, they have lived in that village for 40 years. Subject they followed by have, and live is a form of verb 3. Second form of present perfect tense is a form of negative. So in this form you have to follow the pattern, which is subject followed by have or has, and followed by not, and the last one followed by verb 3. For example, here we see, I haven't gone to Merapi Mountain. So I, remember previously, if you are using I, so you have to use have because this is negative. Don't forget to add not. Haven't is the same with have not. Gone to Merapi Mountain. Gone is verb 3. She hasn't visited the lake in the countryside. So she followed by has previously and added not, so it become hasn't. Visited is verb 3. The lake in the countryside. The lake in the countryside is a form of place. They haven't lived in that village for 40 years. So if you are using the subject they, so you use have with not, it will be haven't. Live is verb 3. In that village for 40 years is an adverbial of place or an explanations of place. And the last form of present perfect tense here is called by interrogative. Interrogative is the same like a question sentence. It start with have or has. So pay attention, in affirmative and negative you start the sentence with subject, but in interrogative you start the sentence with have or has, and then followed by subject, and then followed by verb 3. Don't forget question mark at the end of the sentence. For example here, have you gone to Merapi Mountain? So it is using have because the subject is you. Yeah, remember to see the pattern when you are going to use have or has. Followed by gone. Gone is still verb 3, to Merapi Mountain, with question mark at the end of the sentence. Merapi Mountain is an adverbial of place or an expressions of place. The second example is, has she visited the lake in the countryside? Because here the subject that we are going to use is she, so the subject start with has followed by she and followed by visited. Visited is verb 3. And the last example is, have they lived in that village for 40 years? Because the subject here is they, so the first is started with have. Live is verb 3. In that village for 40 years is an explanations of place expressions. So please remember about the form of sentence in present perfect tense. In conclusion, I will explain in bahasa. Jadi ada 3 pola kalimat dalam present perfect tense. Afirmatif sama dengan positif, pola kalimat positif. Negatif sesuai dengan katanya negatif, dan interrogatif adalah pola kalimat bertanya. So all of the student have to memorize, harus bisa mengingat masing-masing pola kalimat dari present perfect tense. There are only 3 form, remember ya, affirmative, negative, and negative. Don't forget when you are going to use have or has, pay attention, tolong perhatikan subjeknya, whether apakah kamu akan memakai subjek I, you, we, they, or subjek he, she, it. Okay. Now look at this slide. It is stated that for an action that happened in unspecific time. Unspecific times in bahasa mean waktu yang tidak spesifik. The example of the sentence here is, the children have tidied their room. So here we can see the subject is the children, and followed by have, and the verb 3 is tidied. So there is a question mark that asking about when. When is kapan in bahasa. So the meaning of the sentence, the children have tidied their room, doesn't have specific time. Nggak ada waktu jelas atau waktu spesifik kapan anak-anak tersebut merapikan kamar mereka. Okay, so please pay attention first, yeah. Next, we are going to see the example of another sentence. The next functions is why we are using present perfect tense is because the sentence is talking about for an action that has just finished. Pay attention to the caps lock just, yeah. In the left picture you see that boy names is Mark. Mark is having lunch. He's having lunch because you see on the plate there is still some chicken, some vegetables, and on the right picture there is no food left. So in that sentence, in that situation, we make the sentence is he has just had lunch. In bahasa, dia baru saja selesai makan. So we can see the movement, perpindahannya from the left picture to the right picture. The right picture, Mark sedang makan. Mark is having lunch. And the right picture is Mark sudah selesai makan. Just is sudah in bahasa Inggris. So the sentence is he has just had lunch, or you can change he with Mark. Mark has just had lunch. So remember, this is the second function when we are going to use present perfect tense. The third function is to talking about an action that started in the past and hasn't finished. It means in bahasa menceritakan suatu kejadian yang terjadi di masa lampau dan belum selesai. You see this picture, there is a picture of a house in 2000 on the left picture and a picture of a house in 2015 on the right picture. So the first sentence say that we bought the house in 2000. In bahasa, mereka membeli rumah itu di tahun 2000. The second sentence, we still live in the neighborhood. In bahasa, mereka masih tinggal di situ. The third sentence, we have lived here for 15 years. So from 2000 until 2015 there are 15 years ya. 2000 ke 2015 itu kan sudah 15 tahun. So we can make the sentence we have lived here for 15 years. Or you can say it on the other words, bisa dibuat kalimatnya dengan cara lain. We have lived here since 2000. So there are two ways to say in the action that started in the past and hasn't finished. You can use the time expression of for and since. For to tell time yang menceritakan waktu selama jangka waktu tertentu. Kalau since means in bahasa sejak kapan tinggalnya di rumah tersebut. Remember, for and since, they are two different function to tell about something that started in the past, yang terjadi masa lalu dan hasn't finished. And the last functions where we are using present perfect tense is for telling the experiences, pengalaman we have yang sudah atau we haven't lived yang belum pernah kita lakukan. on the left picture, there is a man on the plane. So we can make the sentence, he has flown a plane. But on the right picture, he has never tried bungee jumping. Jadi on one sentence you can make two ways. The first one, he has, sudah pernah. The next one, after but, he has never, dia belum pernah mencoba. There are some difference, yeah, has and has never. The second example is, have you ever traveled by plane? Is an example of interrogative sentence, because it started with have, yeah, followed by subject and ever. So remember the time expression here using ever and never. In bahasa ever sudah, never belum. So before I end the fourth functions of present perfect tense, please remember, because these tenses, it's a bit tricky. They have 4 types of functions, and each functions have different form of sentence. Okay, to sum up on the topic that we discussed about present perfect tense, here I will sum up about the time expressions that use in every function of present perfect tense. We have ever, never, just, already, yet, for, since, how long, so far, lately, recently, and always. These expressions usually use when you want to make the present perfect tense.